Can I tell you something? I've got a very loose stool. Actually, more of a chair.
You're watching Patrick Parson Workshop.
I don't need to see a doctor or a pharmacist or anything about this one. But I do want to tighten it up, and I've got a broken piece on here, so I'm going to look at the bottom of this here and see what we need to do to tighten this back up. Right now it's not sit worthy. Got some movement over here. This side of the chair, all of these joints seem to be good. There's no movement over here, so what I'm going to do, this will just come right off here, so I'm going to get these loosened. I think this one will come out easily. This whole set really needs refinished, so I'm not terribly worried about it. This is functional furniture that we use in our dining room. The finish on it is far from perfect right now, especially on the table. So, but I do, if I start seeing where the heat gun is having an effect on the finish, you definitely want to cool it down a little bit. I've got it on its coolest setting now. Yep, got a little bit of movement there. There we go. Alright, so looking at this a little bit more, I noticed that this seems to be a piece of wood, like a dowel, that was inserted into this piece. I think they drilled this out to where there was a hollow in it, and then they inserted a dowel, and then that dowel also went in here. Alright, so here's the bottom of the chair, and I think I'm going to drill in from this way. I'm going to have to go at an angle both that way and that way, and I don't know any better way to do it the way that I'm set up right now than to just kind of guesstimate it. But when I get this Forstner bit up here, since that's so jagged, I don't really have a good way to get a bite in there, and I don't feel like I'm going to be accurate right off the bat here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sand this flush right here, and then I'm going to fill this in with some epoxy just so I have something level to get a bite into when I start drilling here. Maybe overkill, but I just feel a little more comfortable if I at least had a level base here to start drilling my Forstner bit into. So I'm going to do that. Hey, wanted to tell you about a fellow YouTuber that I've been watching a lot of here lately. He makes hidden compartment furniture. His craftsmanship is really top-notch. I think he makes a lot of his hardware too. Really attractive looking furniture, so even if it didn't have the hidden compartments, it would be super cool. Doesn't have a ton of subscribers. He's got a lot more than me. He is really, really good. His name's David Lindell. Put a link down below the video. Go check him out. I think you'll like it. Wow, it is hard to believe I got that right on the money. Shooting in the dark, but it came right up in the center. Alright, so I'm just going to get some of the glue off this tenon here. I am running out of light, so I'm going to go ahead and put some glue in there. And it is just too dark, so I am not going to be able to... I could finish this up today, but you wouldn't be able to see it. So I'm going to be done for the night. Just going to take a little bit off this oak dowel. It's a 1-inch dowel. It's too tight of a fit when I try to put it into the chair there. And I'm going to just take a tiny bit off so I can get a better fit. So I've got 3 joints that I'm gluing here at the same time, so make sure you got glue both in your holes and on your tenons here. It's time. Maybe should have tried to put this one in first. I don't know how these people who put these chairs together do this. It's such a pain in the butt. Pain in the butt. All I can say. Well, the clamping plan was pretty solid, at least. The getting the tenons in the holes plan was a little dicey. All right, while we're waiting for that glue to dry, I wanted to show you the back property line of our property here. So it starts right there, just to the left of the big evergreen there. That's the fire department back there. And those trees, there's kind of 2 rows of them there. Right in between the first and second row is the boundary where our property meets the fire department property. And it goes all the way over there to that last crepe myrtle that you can see there. So what we're doing, and maybe you can see a couple of bushes out there. We've planted a couple of bushes out there. I've got an azalea, a tea olive, and then a couple of berry bushes that are very small out there. You can see them kind of over toward the right. Got a raspberry and a blackberry, and we're trying to make that kind of a natural area and have it fill in. We might throw in a camellia or a rhododendron or just something to kind of fill up that space, something that gets like maybe 6 to 8 feet tall, and we'll kind of fill it in there. So we've got kind of a naturalized area that's a barrier in the back of our yard there. So anyway, that's kind of the plan. That's the little azalea. See, it's doing real well. Neat color blooms there, kind of a tomato color. And there's our tea olive. We may add a couple more of these. Those things will grow pretty much anywhere, and they get pretty tall too. I would guess they'll probably get as much as 10 or 12 feet tall. They are pretty, but they really smell good. Really fragrant. I like them even better than a gardenia, and I love gardenia, but I think these smell at least just as good. But yeah, this is the area that we'd like to naturalize here, and just to give you kind of some perspective, there's our house there. Alright, so the glue's all dried, and you can see this protrudes a little bit there, so I'm going to have to cut it level right there, and I'm going to use a flush cut saw to do that. This will discourage me from cutting the surface of the chair here, and I'll be able to see if I'm getting a little bit too deep, because I will tear this tape. Alright, so I actually did have to sand some of that finish off there and scrape it just a little bit to get that relatively smooth. So I'm going to just use some sandpaper. I didn't want to mess with this finish, but it looks like I'm going to have to. So I'm going to just sand this up. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to exactly match that short of sanding this whole thing down. And since these chairs are kind of nearing end of life, I don't know that I'm interested in sanding this one down by itself. That would be kind of silly. It would make it look different than all the other chairs. And I'm definitely not going to sand down the whole set. There's other repairs that have been made with nails and different things, and I mean it's really kind of pretty far gone structurally. They're sound right now. After this repair is made, they're going to be usable, and we'll just use them as long as we can until they start really falling apart, and it's at the point of diminishing returns to be repairing them anymore. So I think they've got a few years left, so I'm going to call that good. I am going to wait for that to dry and then kind of buff it out a little bit, and then I'll bring it inside. But I would have made a split this way, probably right through there, and then I would have hammered and glued a wedge down in there, a wooden wedge, like the rest of these have. I'll show you that in a second. That would have made that move over there and fill in that gap, and then I could just cut and sand the wedge off, and this would have been a near perfect fix if I had done that. There you go. You can see that one, how there's a wedge that's been put in there, and that's all pretty flat and flush and looks real nice.
You have been watching the Patrick Parson Workshop, which we hope you have found informative. In the comment section below, please share your thoughts, questions, and any ideas you may want us to address in the future. Also, why not consider subscribing to the channel, as every week we will have something new for you, and we would surely hate for you to miss it. As always, thanks for watching Patrick Parson Workshop.